I have given up on so many good habits. I start strong, get really motivated, and then suddenly I look up and find that it has been weeks or months since I practiced that habit. Dang it! I guess I failed again, and now I'm really busy with other things. I don't know when I'll have the time or energy to try again. And if I'm being honest, I don't have a lot of hope that it will even work next time. The thought in my head is, why even try? This is why I'm hosting two experts today in this weekly fellowship. I'm going to ask them, how do I get out of this cycle? And I hope you stick around to help you as well. Hello, friends. Welcome to the weekly fellowship, the space that brings faith-filled women together to inspire and empower each other. I'm your host, Reagan Clement. I'm a life coach and the proud founder of the Rising Tide Fellowship. We're more than just a community. We're a gathering of growth-minded women of faith engaging in group discussions, Bible studies, book clubs, and online courses. Our coaching collective, comprised of specialists catering to women in different seasons of life, supports and uplifts each member, guiding them toward peace, virtue, and fulfillment. Weekly Fellowship is not just a podcast or a YouTube video, it's a space where we come together every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central for a live, interactive, podcast-style conversation. This is where we share insights for your life in an engaging format, and here's the best part. At the 30-minute mark, we invite you to bring your ideas, perspectives, and questions to the conversation. Your voice matters, and we truly value the connection that we are building here. Our first season, How We Became Disciplined Women, is a journey into transformation. In 10 episodes, we'll share the details of what finally transformed us from stressed out list makers into the peaceful women who can actually, finally follow through. So whether you're joining us during your commute, your workout, or a quiet moment of reflection, thank you for being here. Subscribe now to Weekly Fellowship and become part of this incredible community. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So welcome to a rising tide of incredible women. I just want to start off today in a really honest and vulnerable space with these two incredible women, Denise Jelinek and Stefania Bigi. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Let me introduce you guys a little bit. If you have anything to add, feel free. Denise is a wife of 20 years, and after years of infertility is blessed to be a mom to 2 teenage boys. Although once a binge eater, overdrinker, and chronic people pleaser, she is now a Catholic health and weight loss coach and speaker, dedicated to helping women grow closer to Christ and pursue peace as they learn to live free of excess weight, emotional eating, and all the things that distract and lure them with artificial comfort. Oh, thank you for being here, Denise.
Thanks, Reagan. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, we also have Stefania Bigi. Stefania is a certified health and wellness coach and fertility care practitioner. Raised in Italy, where she has worked as a physician for several years, she now lives with her family in California with her husband and their 4 children, welcome to the family after also many years of infertility. Stefania is passionate about addressing health issues at their root through lifestyle changes, and her firsthand experience navigating health challenges fueled her dedication to helping others. Stefania, we're so glad to have your perspective here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, today's topic is all about habits, and I'm just going to start by sharing my own struggle right now, and I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm right in the middle of it, you guys, so it's kind of vulnerable. And then I'm going to ask Denise and Stefania to kind of share their wisdom and just help me through it. And then hopefully in this concept and this conversation, it can help you guys as well. And ladies, feel free to share, your coaching wisdom, your expertise, but if you feel the need to share your own story or an analogy, feel free to do so. We're just going to open it up. So for me personally, something that I'm struggling with is that I kicked tail in about November of last year. Really 2 years ago, November, I started fitness resistance training. So I started resistance training. I got a really expensive gym membership. I drove 30 miles across town for this really peaceful, awesome gym because gyms kind of stress me out. I found this amazing gym and I was consistent. And I went and I lifted weights and I felt really good until summer. So really like 7 months of consistently 4 or 5 times a week going. And then when summer came, it just shifted. It was pretty outside. My husband wanted to walk in the morning. My kids were wanting to do lots of stuff outside and I didn't want to go anymore. I wanted to go outside and be with my family. So I stopped and I didn't feel super guilty about that. But when summer was over, I never went back and I've been trying and trying to find a way. And I kind of feel like a failure. It looks like I failed. So Denise, do you kind of want to start and just give me a little, what would you say to that?
Okay, so you are not going to fancy gym across town that's peaceful.
That's right.
Okay, what's the problem with that?
That means I'm not resistance training anymore.
Yeah.
And it means that I lose out on all the benefits of that, feeling really good in my clothes and like looking really good, and also the mental part of that, right? Because exercise it just lowers my anxiety.
There's things that you want from strength training that you are no longer benefiting from.
That's right.
And going to the gym across town is the only way to get those.
No. No, of course not, right? No. And I hit that. And so I wanted to start working out at home, but I was homeschooling and the kids, we were on top of each other. And it feels like I'm trying to put on this workout mind in the place where I rest and take care of my family. And it feels really chaotic.
So when you say it feels really chaotic, how do you feel?
Anxious.
Yeah. And when you're feeling anxious, how do you show up for yourself?
For myself, I really run. When I feel anxious, I run around like a chicken with my head cut off. I avoid the thing that's causing the anxiety.
But I avoid the thing that's causing the anxiety, and that thing that's causing the anxiety
is the thought that, dadgummit, I'm not doing my workout. I'm not doing it. I want to do
Yeah.
it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So when you have this thought, like, oh, it's really chaotic, you show up in an anxious way and you just keep it chaotic, right? Because you're just kind of spinning out in all the ways it's chaotic. You've got this is chaotic glasses gone. And so you look at that's chaotic. I've got homeschooling and I've got this. And how am I supposed to do it? These are two different spaces and I'm using the same space for two different things and it just doesn't feel right. Okay, right. So we're just spinning out and spinning out and spinning out. What would it look like if you got, let's just go with calm. If you felt calm, you're thinking about strength training and you felt calm. How would
It's
you
hard
show
to
up for yourself?
imagine. Yeah, it's hard to imagine. That's not what I've been experiencing, right? But if I could feel and show up calm, then I would just do one thing at a time. I would just take one thing at a time. So I have two types of workouts that I like to do at home that are not resistance training. They're nervous system somatic exercises, but I like them. But it's like, so if I was calm, I could just start them and do them, but I'm not always calm.
Mhm.
Stefania, do you want to add something there?
I was just wondering what calms you?
Exercise.
Exercise. And is there anything else that
Yeah.
um
Just getting still with God calms me.
that's interesting. So there is I was wondering if there was something that could put you in that state of peace that can maybe in introduce you, like be the hallway to a workout.
Did you say hallway too?
Yeah, kind
Oh,
of. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I know that, and I know that about myself, like Reagan, if you'll get still, and you'll do we've had some life changes again that make it even where my morning, we do the daily reading still, but it's as a family, and so it's not, you're still being mom.
Mhm.
And my morning routine has recently shifted because the kids were homeschooled until a week and a half ago. And so now my morning routine is up, and we're doing the daily readings as a family, and then it's breakfast time, and it's driving them to school and all the things. So I could totally prioritize doing my own time with God in the morning right when they leave, instead of doing the dishes and cleaning up after them and putting their backpacks up,
Can I just offer something else for you and for everyone else who's listening? When we find that our brains are resisting something, it's usually because they don't feel safe. And so we're getting a benefit in what we're having right now. So, what do you think feels unsafe to you about exercise?
When I exercise and do hard things, there is that first moment of that feeling in my head, my body, like, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard, it's too hard, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And then
Huh.
when you get over it, it feels good, but that first part is hard.
Okay. So that's when you're exercising and you've actually planned it. But what feels unsafe about taking that time out to do that?
I think in my scenario, it might just be that it's really new. Like I haven't even had this new morning routine is something I didn't realize until this moment. So I don't feel unsafe. The reason okay, that's not true. The reason I've chosen to clean instead of is because my thought in my head is I will feel more chaotic if the house is messy. I will feel more peaceful if everything's clean. But then that doesn't actually happen.
So you cannot clean and exercise you cannot have both.
Um, no, I could have both. What the heck? I could have both. I think the thought in my head is like, the kids are in school now, you need to get to work. You need to do productive things. And and you need to hop to it. So I'll give you, like, you got 20 minutes for yourself, you got 30 minutes for yourself, but you don't have 30 minutes to clean and 30 minutes to work out. But I do have that time.
Wait, but hang on just a second. So your brain is saying you don't, and you're realizing that's a thought error,
That's right.
which is fine. You guys need to know that we have thoughts going through our head all darn day long. And it's our job to recognize, to be the observer of our thoughts, and to realize not all of them are true. And until you do this work and recognize, oh, wait, it's just my thoughts that are becoming obstacles. So now we get to look at the thoughts that are going through your head, keep the ones that are working for us and getting you closer to the life that you want, and then look at the thoughts that are holding you back and decide, wait a second, how can I transform that thought so that I can get closer to what I want? Because you've got this thought, you don't have time. I'm only going to give you 30 minutes. I guess
So
what feels unsafe about more than 30 minutes?
yeah, no, I have time. I can see that now. So really, it comes back to, for me, the habit is not really have much to do with exercise. It has to do with my little lies, my little whispers that there is no time, there is no time, there is no time. You have to hustle, hustle, hustle. And it's creating anxiety. And I don't like anxiety. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. So I would ask you, how is it not true that you don't have time? How is that not true?
Well, I have been successfully running a business while homeschooling. So my kids are now in school. I have double the amount of time. I have time to finally take care of myself as well. Boom.
And I love that thought for you. I have time to take care of myself as well. I do
Mm,
have time. And I want to remind everybody that your brain is going to kick and scream and try to put up these old thoughts coming back. And your job is to recognize old thought, but not indulge in it. To say, no, wait a second. I just stopped homeschooling. I have double the amount of time. I have been running a successful business. Nope, I do have time for me. Does your brain believe that? And so I want to be clear that these aren't affirmations. Does your brain believe that?
I do, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel when you say, "Oh, I do have time"?
A little excited, a little calm, but mostly, I mean, I feel excited.
Yeah, and when you're excited, how do you show up for yourself?
Um, in so many ways, but specifically with this, I'm thinking like if I'm excited, I can honestly what I'm probably going to do is buy a few things that really create a second space for working out. Just a
Mhm.
couple things, Stefania mentioned a mat, laying a mat out, and so it invites you to the space. Like I don't even have that. I just need a couple of things that say I'm excited to take care of myself.
So you create a space. What else do you do and not do when you're excited?
Mm, not do is rush and like do the stress hustle. It's something
Mhm.
that I know better. I don't like to do it. That's something that clients tell me all the time. And I know how to coach other people through it, but I still struggle to move out of the hustle
Mhm.
into more intentional, excited too. You know what I would do? I would just have more fun.
Mhm. So I do have time for me. You get excited, and the result is that you create a space, you get excited for that. You probably find workouts and then you do them and you do have time. And if I can just say one thing about the hustle, you guys, that's for all of us. Our job is not to live on autopilot. Our job is to recognize the hustle. And the first step out of it is to just get curious. Oh, I'm rushing again. My body literally thinks there's not enough time. Huh, isn't that interesting? I had one client, she literally had to recognize she was never late, but she was always in this constant state of hustle. And so she started to recognize that feeling. When she detected that hustly feeling, she would kind of get curious and she would just say to herself, I'm on time. No, I am on time. So I just offer that to you.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been super helpful. Something that Stefania hosted a class on Tuesday night, and I went to it, and she was kind of connecting my habits to my core values. Stefania, do you want to share a little bit about that side of things?
Yeah, I feel that's a very important aspect of building new habits because I was wondering while you were talking about this working out routine for yourself, Reagan, you were saying it makes you feel well, but w- so I was wondering what is very important for you in your life? What do you value the most in your life?
Yeah, well, I can tell you because I took your class and I got to think about it a lot. So, um, I have it written down in the living room, but I know two of them were inner peace and God's will. Oh, inner peace, God's will, compassion, and fruitfulness. Yeah. But
Okay.
the inner peace is really coming to me with this workout.
Nice. And so your um these values, I think of these values as those that kind of lead your life, the way you want to be, the way you want to show up for people, the way you want to feel, right?
Mhm.
And So when you think of working out, you want to bring that back into your life, right? How do you connect it to those core values that you want uh, your life to be led by?
Um, I think one of the reasons I've been avoiding it is because what we just worked on with Denise is that feeling of chaos and anxiety. And it's really opposed to one of my deepest desires is inner peace, deepest desire. And so it just feels like, well, I'm kind of like, I'm not going to do that one because that causes me stress.
Hmm. So your first thought is, I'm going to keep this out of my life because it's not consistent or aligned with one of those core values. So why do you want to work out?
That's kind of where I was with Denise. It feels like I want to exercise, I want to work out because it actually does bring me inner peace. I notice from my own brain that I feel so much more creative and calm and peaceful after a workout. On days when I work out, I mean, my brain just functions better. I like it. It's my friend. And when I don't work out, it feels like it's fighting me all day.
Mhm. So it looks like you know the benefits of that working out on your body. You have experienced them, and they do eventually bring you the inner peace that you're
Mhm.
seeking in your life. So it's
Yeah.
really about the getting started. Mhm.
Mhm.
And in a way, that's why I was asking you at the beginning, what calms you? Um, because um, I'm kind of connecting now to what Denise was saying. Our brain goes and has its own thoughts, but we don't necessarily want to validate them, all of them. And so um, we want to reinforce those that can help us um, throughout the day. And so I was wondering what calms you because that could be um, the help you need to uh, and and you could tie the workout to this calming activity. It comes right one after the other. Then you are really reinforcing those um, activities and neural pathways that are supporting your working out. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, I feel after talking to you both, I feel like I see how I was subconsciously pushing it away because it was not aligned with my value. But I was subconsciously pushing it away due to a lie because it really is aligned, right? That's what we've kind of discovered is that it does bring inner peace. It was just kind of a mindset there, a little tricky, little sneaky thought.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so for our guests, thank you so much, by the way, guys. For I'm thinking about my friend trainer at the gym, and I hope she's not listening to this. No, I'm just kidding. She can, but it just feels really vulnerable right now, you know? Um, let's think about shift a little bit for our guests. What if they really don't have time? Like when the kids were home full time, it really was really hard to just find time. It was very difficult. So what if someone's listening right now and they're like, well, that's nice for her because her kids are at school now, or because
Mhm.
whatever, she works from home, but like I can't add another thing to my plate.
Mhm. I'll go.
Yeah.
I always love to say there's two things. There's I love giving women the permission to just discover what works for them in this season of their life. So I remember a time when my son came home, my second son came home, and I was like, I'm gonna exercise. You guys don't know this, I'm a personal trainer too. I'm like, I'm gonna exercise when he takes a nap. You guys, that little monkey was so unpredictable with his naps that if he interrupted me I have never felt so much rage. It was so weird because it was like my time. And then here he walks downstairs, and my son was 18 months when he was adopted, so he could walk. Um, and I just gave myself permission, and I was like, we're not exercising right now. You cannot emotionally keep yourself together right now. It feels like way too much pressure. And we're not doing this. And I remember just being like, oh, it just felt so good to know that that was my choice. I'm choosing this. The other thing, so I want to just allow people to discover what works for them, which just means, is this really important to you? Because if it's not, it's totally fine to not do it. A, or B, if you're just not ready for it. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be women who strive or grow, but the truth is that Denise Jelinek really needs to work on her caffeine consumption, but I'm not willing to do the work on it right now. And it's my choice. I see it's an issue, if you will. I'm just not willing to do it. It's too hard, but that's my choice. And so I want to empower women to just decide what's important for you right now. And it's totally fine that it might be important to other people, but it just might not be important to you right now. And that's fine.
I love that. Yeah, go ahead, Stefania.
And I would also add, I love what Denise is saying because we carry heavy loads. We decided for ourselves, and so I love what Denise said. And I would also add, we don't. We sometimes think that if we decide for, I don't know, let's say working out, that has to be in my ideal concept of working out. And I don't even know who put it in in my mind. Like it has to be 30 minutes 3 times a day. No, it does not have to be 30 minutes 3 times a day. I will share what I found. Um, I have little kids in the house. I'm homeschooling and I am working too. So it is a busy house and I don't have those 30 minutes and it's frustrating in a way. But I found that I can still work out if I do it in little chunks of time here and there. It's not ideal, maybe, but I can do that. I can do 2 minutes every day, and I can do 2 minutes with my kids running around me, and that's still fine. And that works for this season of life, and it's surely better than not doing anything at all. And it is. I benefit from it. It's not like maybe it's better. It is better. I experience it. Peace of mind, the way I walk around, more energized and all that. So I think we also have to be a little bit more uh, realistic and be happy with the life situation we have and kind of compromise a little bit.
Stefania, that reminds me of the whole concept of being the CFO of fill in the blank. And CFO means that you're creative, you're flexible, and you're
Mhm.
organized. So you're creative, right? I like when you said the 2 minutes, you're flexible, and then you just make it happen. I heard it actually in relation to date nights because we believe that date nights have to be on a Friday or Saturday night outside of the house. A date can happen at 9:30 on a Tuesday. And so just being able to be flexible in our concepts.
And that starting small, it's really the beginning because once you've found throughout a day, you found that you can work out 2 minutes every day, like, I don't know, in the morning, right after you get dressed, or I don't know, right after lunch, that becomes a pathway in your mind. And so you can build on that and you can add more 2 minutes here and there, or you can make those 2 minutes become 5. And you just start small. You're just starting small.
But I want to say we really focused on the example of working out, but all of this can be applied to I want a better prayer life. I want a better marriage. I want a better relationship with my kids. I want to have more money, more, better financial situation, better health, like whatever it is. We all have these things where we're like, I really want to put in these good habits. There was something else, there are two things actually that we talked about before the show that I wanted to make sure get said because they were such a blessing to me. And one of them was Denise mentioned surrender prayer. And I would just, Denise, will you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Surrender Novena is a beautiful novena. I have been doing it 98% of the days since I started last May. So I know it inside and out, and I love it. But there's a piece in there where the Lord says, "Oh, how I suffer when I see you agitated," which, come on, everybody, that means stressed. He said, "Oh, how I suffer when I see you so agitated. The devil tries to do just that, to agitate you, to remove you from my protection." So my point is that the Lord clearly said when we're agitated slash stressed, we're no longer under his protection. Isn't that wild, you guys? So I believe that one of the priorities in our lives is the work that Reagan is teaching you how to do here is to detect where you're stressed, agitated, unsettled, feeling chaos. Look at it, give it a hard look or a soft look, but just become aware and curious of it so that you can start to diminish that impact on your life and eventually remove it. Because it's only when we feel peace that we are connected to the Lord. It's worth the work.
Just hearing the idea of looking at our agitation and, really saying like, God doesn't want this for me. I'm going to find a way to heal this, to love on myself, to let him love on me here and make me less agitated. It really, I can feel it in my shoulders. I saw Stefania went, you know, I mean, I know your life season right now, Stefania, you're working, you got those kids and you're doing so many good things. And I know the weight, and there is some agitation, and we all have it. Every listener right now is like, oh, I know exactly that moment in my life or my day or my week when it's like that boss or that thing that my husband says or that, whatever it is, that moment that just gets me really agitated, really stressed. Oh, just to think like, I had a client last week that said, I just couldn't help but think that like God had to make us for more than this. He had to. This cannot be it. Just the constant agitation, the constant stress. So the second thing that we mentioned before, Denise, was do we make little g gods out of our to-do lists? I think this is a good segue to that.
Yeah. So a couple things when your client said there's got to be more to this, there's one thing that I know about our Lord, and it is that he would not give you the job you have, the family you have, the neighborhood you have, the school requirements, homeschooling. He would not give you all of those things if it required you to live in a constantly stressed out state, to be self-destructive or neglect your own needs. He just wouldn't do that. He wouldn't give you something that required you to destroy his creation, which is ourselves, to do it because we think it's his work. He's not going to give us something that would require that much stress. And so when we live in this world, our world has made little g gods out of efficiency and productivity, which is not a bad thing, but it's just not from the Lord. And when our to-do lists are creating stress, that's where we get to say, is this Denise's to-do list or is this the Lord's to-do list? And I'm working personally right now on this concept of recognizing what's necessary, because that's what the Lord wants, and what's excess. What's excess? Denise just trying to get ahead, do a little more to chase that chasing, striving. Because when I do the necessary, my life feels way more peaceful when I'm doing all this little stuff that the world has deemed a good thing. It might not be a bad thing, but it just might not be the Lord's thing. And I think as as believers, that's one of our crosses, is because our whole life is filled with good things. And we get to detect, what is the Lord's work for me today?
I love that. So as women who came here today thinking, I'm going to go get help so that I can push through and really get my habits done. Like, that's just not what this answer was it? Like, we might be able to find a habit that's, one, aligned with our core values, and then two, we can work through those mental roadblocks like I had at the beginning, and we can actually find a way to make it happen. But a lot of them, we're realizing, do I even want to do this? Is this aligned with God? Is he asking me to do this? Or is this something I saw on social media? Or is this something that I read in a, Stefani said, I work out 3 times a week, 30 minutes, or Denise is, 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. That's what's healthy. And we talked about routines the other, and our women's idea of routines means I'm going to put in 75 amazing habits all at once, and I'm going to do them every day. And our prayer life, our idea of what prayer life is, looks like this, and it's this long, and it's this spiritual, and I'm disconnected. And it's like some of that is just excess.
Mm.
And going back to what you were saying, Denise, we are filling our lives with so many commitments, so many things to do, and some are necessary, some may be good, some maybe, I don't know, we chose to do them thinking they were good. But maybe if we look at our week, at our days, we can think, okay, maybe that one thing is not that necessary. I can give it up because I would like to put in maybe this little habit that is so aligned with the person I want to become or I want to be and would do me so much good. I see this a lot with trying to keep my kids up with all the like requirements, like do sports here, do sports there, social life and all that. And I have to stop myself and say, hey, this is good. This is not necessary at all. And it's taking away so many good things from our family, from my personal peace or prayer life. And so I have to make a step back. For me, that is what is going on here, but I'm sure everyone has their own, right?
Yes. And we need to close now and switch to our live group. But I wanted to ask, since just you said that and it was so perfectly said, Denise gave an example earlier of a woman trying to lose weight because overeating, right? A lot of us overeat, we oversnack. And so some of us, Denise, do you remember that example? Do you want to kind of share that one about like if I'm overeating and I'm looking at this as a problem, and I'm like, ooh, I want to lose weight, instead of doing like a 7-day meal plan with breakfast, lunch, and dinner plan
Oh,
and
yeah,
hiring a
yeah.
gym and
Okay, so one of the things that I was saying, one of my favorite ways to get started on a habit or change something is to take 5 to 7 days to observe it, to observe the habit. So if there's a woman who wants to lose weight, I suggest that you take 5 to 7 days to just write your food notes. Whatever you eat, write it down. The time, so a lot of about emotions. So what you'll start to notice, or if you want to change your bedtime, well, what is your bedtime routine? What time did you go to bed? What were you doing right before you went to bed? So you're just looking for habits and patterns, because that way it will show you where you need to focus your energy. So what I was saying to Reagan earlier was, so many people are like, oh, I want to lose weight. And so they make this new meal plan for themselves. But instead, what if you took 5 to 7 days, started to notice what your food habits and patterns were? You would be able to detect where your energy or attention needs to be. Maybe you have no problem before 3 p.m., but come 3 p.m., you have an energy crash. Maybe your kids come home from school or your school day ends, whatever it is, but there's something stressful there. Great. Now we know what to solve for. How can we create less stress during that time so we can start to problem solve for this? How can we create maybe 2 to 3 go-to snacks that you feel good about, that you don't regret. So we just start problem solving for the real problems where you actually do need support and not just hand you a meal plan. Because my point is, friends, diets don't help people solve for why they're overeating. They just don't. And so let's
Yep.
just get to the real problem, and then we can start solving for it, because everything in this world is solvable. Everything.
I really wanted us to hear that because for me, I hear it on not necessarily food, but in so many habits across the board, things that I want to put in. It's like I'm choosing strategies that are much harder than what I really need.
Right. Right.
And right, how many women need to do harder things right now? We got enough. Like,
Oh, yeah, that was the point. It was like, why are we trying to make our lives more stressful and chaotic to meet our goals? No, let's just be smarter about them.
thank you, friends, for joining us today for Weekly Fellowship. If you've enjoyed today's conversation and want to dive deeper into our community of growth-minded women, I invite you to join the Rising Tide Fellowship. Visit risingtidefellowship.com to connect with like-minded souls, engage in enriching discussions, and discover the support you need for your journey. And for those of you seeking more personalized support, consider working with me, Reagan Clement, at reaganclementcoaching.com. As a faith-filled life coach, I'm dedicated to helping you unlock your potential, embrace peace, and live life aligned with your God-given design. In today's show details, you'll find both links, so take a moment to explore the opportunities waiting for you. Before we part ways, remember that your voice matters to us. Share your insights, perspectives, and questions by joining the second half of our live conversation every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Thank you for being part of this incredible community. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help us reach more hearts. Visit risingtidefellowship.com for more. Until we meet again, take care, and may your week be filled with peace, purpose, and fulfillment.